Well, good afternoon, everyone. You are tuned to 1422 medium wave. This is the new Pan Hellenic voice with our program, The Inner Voice. And I am Dr. Gabrielides. I'll be with you till 1 o'clock. We're carrying on today where we left off last week with our topic of peace of mind. And how important that is for us in today's fast-paced world. Stay with me, my friends, while I greet my fellow Greek listeners, and I'll be back with you in just a sec. Καλησπέρα σας, κυρίες και κύριοι. Είσαστε, όπως ξέρετε, συντονισμένοι στα 14-22 μεσαία κύματα της νέας πανελλήνιας φωνής με την εκπομπή μας Εσωτερική Φωνή. Μαζί σας ο Dr. Παναγιώτης Γαβριλίδης μέχρι τις 1 η ώρα. Μείνετε συντονισμένοι μαζί μας και εύχομαι να αναπαύσουμε λίγο και να χαμογελάσουμε λίγο σήμερα. Okay, peace of mind. I started on the program on the topic last week, and I would like to complete it today if possible. And I mentioned last week, in a world where stress and strain and rush, hectic pace of life and restlessness abound, peace of mind is of paramount importance, my friends. Don't turn your nose up at this subject. This is really can make all the difference between success and failure, between disaster on the one hand and things turning out just right as you want them on the other. It's very important in the family situation, with our children, with our mates, very important in the workplace, very important for us to practice as a community, as a country, as a city, as a world, frankly, on the international scene. Very little peace of mind exists, unfortunately, in today's world. Peace of mind is a treasure that everyone desires, whether they know it or not, but only very few, paradoxically, know how to gain it. And even those who do, unless there is a reminder once in a while, we tend to forget, and it is so easy to fall into this frenetic, the dog chasing its proverbial tail kind of situation that we forget. Even those of us who know and are aware of the importance and of peace of mind and the principles of how to attain peace of mind, the steps, even we, all it takes is a taxi cutting you off on the road and gone. In 1 nanosecond is gone all your knowledge, all your understanding, all your wisdom, and you become a caveman, a savage. Frightening, really. Last night, driving home, I experienced something absolutely horrible. I was alone, driving on the concrete highway back home, and I switched lanes. I from the slow lane, I wanted to go to the middle lane. Not even the fast lane, just take note of that. So I wanted to go in the middle lane. I looked in my rearview mirror, saw nothing behind me. I put my indicator on, and I switched to the middle lane. Suddenly, out of nowhere, this car comes behind me. Man, bright lights on, 2 feet away from my bumper, on the back of me, on my backside, as we say. 2 feet away, literally 2 feet away from my bumper. Had anything gone wrong, had I had to press brakes, apply brakes for any reason, he would have been into my rear end. And I mean, bright lights and laying on the horn, on the hooter, blinding me. I literally had to flick my mirror so that I could not see the bright lights, and duck behind the bright lights so they would not reflect in my eyes, so I could see what's going on. And he carried on for about 4 minutes, 4 long minutes. It seemed like forever, blowing his horn at me, flashing his lights. I mean, I was in the middle lane. I did not see anything behind me. But of course, the thing is, he was coming at such a speed that he was nowhere to be seen behind me, but because of his high speed, boom, he was on me. Okay, now had I done that in the fast lane, okay, maybe, I would have a certain part to blame. But I was just going in the middle lane, for Pete's sake. And I was really doing 110 to 120 in the middle lane. I mean, that's perfectly legal, perfectly excusable, perfectly understandable, perfectly legal. Nothing wrong with it. And yet you see the road rage. Where's the peace of mind here? Yeah, and I was so tempted to retaliate. Well, I'm proud of myself. I didn't. I just said, look, let go. Let go. Just let him go on with his madness, So, few ever attain the peace of mind that we need to. With all our advancement in science, no remedy has yet been found for lack of inner peace on the scientific front, if I may use that phrase. So often, even when being in, let's say, in a good position, in a good relationship, maybe in a good job, in a good financial condition, even in good health, still, with all those blessings, still people have no peace of mind, which only goes to prove that peace of mind does not depend on external conditions necessarily. All external conditions matter. They matter very much, please. I'm not a Pollyanna. Good job, a good home, a good relationship, stable finances. Oh, they count, please, please. Of course they count. But they're not enough, is what I'm saying, They're not enough. The solution has to come from within and through external means. And not through external means only, okay? Yes, we need to pay the rent. Yes, we need a car. Yes, we need a house over a roof over our heads. Yes, very much so, yes. But that's not enough to achieve complete peace of mind, to strive towards that perfection. Of course, that is a perfection and a state we will probably never achieve in this lifetime, but we can go a long way towards that from attempting to kill somebody on the highway like this guy was attempting to kill me last night, Okay? So, it's not always possible to change external conditions, but you can certainly change your inner attitude and learn to stop allowing outside influences to affect your moods and states of mind. So peace of mind is not something to be found only, say, on the Himalayas or in some cave in India while you stand on one leg and chant Om for 20 years. Or by monks and hermits and nuns, etc., etc., okay? Peace of mind is attainable here and now, wherever you are, wherever I am, irrespective of our external circumstances, since peace of mind is an inner state and is interdependent of the external circumstances and external conditions. But you see, even though there may be chaos around you, like the monumental and classic and magnificent example of Mahatma Gandhi of India, even though there was chaos around him, he single-handedly, a little man in a loincloth, united the nation of India, and with his peace of mind defeated the most powerful force on the planet back then, the British Empire. So you see, there is a great value in realizing and understanding that peace of mind begins within. And although it helps to have external conditions go smoothly, if they're not going smoothly, then with your inner peace of mind, you can get them to go smoothly, is what I'm trying to say. So it begins inside. Okay, it begins inside, and then, like The ripples on a pond, when you throw a pebble in a pond that is still, no ripples on the pond, signifying peace of mind. Once you begin on the road to inner peace of mind, then it will manifest outside as good family relationships, stable job, a safe home to live in, etc., etc., following your dreams, etc., etc., manifesting your desires, etc. It will come, you see. The outside, the external circumstances will come, but it's got to start inside. Otherwise, it doesn't have an anchor. In fact, it's not possible for it to come the other way around. Thus, the lives of film stars and movie stars and music stars, etc. One that comes to mind is Elvis Presley. I mean, how more successful could you possibly be than him? And he commits suicide. All right? See what I'm getting at? Externally, Elvis had it all. Money, the fame, safety, the stability. He had it all. But he didn't have the inner peace of mind, obviously. Otherwise, he would not have done what he did, would he? So peace of mind, then, begins to manifest when the incessant inner chatter of our mind slows down. So like if you can picture the pond with many pebbles throwing into it and many ripples, so you've got to wait for the ripples to subside and for that pond to be still again, you see. When peace of mind appears, anxiety and stress and worries and fear, mental and emotional restlessness, nervousness and impatience disappear. Yeah, that's a tall order. Now, right there, wow. Right there you're describing a Gandhi. Right there you're describing a Socrates. You know, the great ones. All right? It is a state of inner calmness, tranquility, and serenity, which brings forth happiness, tolerance, inner poise. See, nothing ruffles your feathers. Inner balance and self-control. See? Marvelous. So, peace of mind, then, is an acquired skill which requires time to develop. It's not going to happen overnight. You can't swallow a pill. You can't attend a 2-week course. You can't buy a CD that will give you peace of mind, all right? No, it takes time and practice and perseverance to develop, just like any other skill. If you have the knowledge and desire and motivation and the patience and perseverance, we are sure to attain at least some degree of inner peace. And you know, the thing is about good things is that they grow. They grow. You know, you just have to focus on gentleness or kindness 24/7, all the time, towards everyone, no exceptions. And then that will grow like a snowball on the top of a mountain or a slope. It begins, you know, this ball of snow, it begins small, and as it rolls down the hill, it gathers, you know, more snow sticks to it, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So it is with peace of mind and all the positive things in life. And of course, so it is with the negative things in life, isn't it? They also start small. It's maybe an irritation, and they end up big. So, peace of mind will enable us to manifest calmness and tranquility in our daily life, and also in difficult and trying situations. And boy, we all have our share of them, isn't it? All of us. It's not just you, my friend, listening to me right now. It's me as well, all of us. All of us. It will allow us to display emotional and mental detachment whenever needed, and thereby avoid being too affected by other people's words. And other people's words can affect us, can't? What? How could they even think that of me? Never mind say it. Say it to someone else too. Say it to my face. Oh, horrible. And we get our knickers tied in a knot, We're affected by other people's feelings and behavior. Peace of mind will enable us to control our reactions and become a happier, a more patient, more tolerant, and more open-minded human being. Following and implementing the advice of last week's programs and this week, the few suggestions that I will give, even for just a few minutes a day, my friends, will make a noticeable difference in your life. Take note of that, even for just a few minutes a day, and you will soon become aware of positive inner changes within you. Kinesiology has proved quite conclusively and categorically that a thought of peace, a thought of love, a thought of joy is millions of times more powerful than a thought of hate, than a thought of discontent, than a thought of anger, than a thought of fear. Isn't that interesting? And of the 65,000 thoughts a day, kinesiology has found out most of them are negative by far. 99 point something percent negative of the 65,000 thoughts. But the 0 point something positive thoughts that we have, the 4 or 6 positive thoughts that we have, or the 8 or 10 or 20, every day of the 65,000 thoughts are so powerful, so infinitely more powerful, that they are able to counteract or to nullify the power of the negative thoughts. Now that is an amazing piece of information right there, my friends. An amazing piece of information. That we can use to free ourselves from stress, from strain, from worries and fears, as well as to be able to clear our mind from negative and useless thoughts. Boy, and there are enough of those going around in our cranium, aren't there? Enough of those, more than enough. So, peace of mind, very, very important. Very, very important. Anyway, okay. Now, boy, that was supposed to be just a recap of last week's program, but actually, as often happens, a lot more new snippets are thrown in as well. Okay, so let's now look at some principles that we can employ to attain peace of mind. See, one of them is to practice certainty of purpose. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by practicing certainty of purpose? See, we have to find our purpose and then live that purpose as if our life depended on it, because in fact it does. My friends, all of us have principles, things that we value, moral values, ethical values, religious values, spiritual values, family values. All of us have these values that we live by. Do you know, my friends, that those values give meaning to our lives? They give meaning and purpose to our lives. And do you know that those values protect us because they have power, enormous power? Not to be confused with force. You see, to go to the grand and magnificent example of Mahatma Gandhi, you see, he had power. The British Empire, which was aligned against him and wanted to obliterate him, they had force. See? The British Empire was forcing the Indian nation to do what they wanted. Okay? Mahatma Gandhi, though, had not force. He wasn't forcing anybody to do anything. He had power, born from knowledge, from understanding, from wisdom, from inner peace. You see, I was once on a radio program and I was talking about the power of love, the goodness of love, and the goodness of peace. And someone asked me, well, has there ever been any research done to prove that love is better than hate, to prove that, forgiveness is better than resentment? And I was stunned by that question, because you do not need the research to show you that love is better than hate. You do not need scientific research to prove to you that goodness is better than evil. You don't need that. You see, the principles of goodness do not need defending. But when, for example, you're planning to invade another country, that needs a lot of defending. I remember I was in Houston, Texas, when the Secretary of State back then, General Colin Powell, was addressing the United Nations on TV for all of us to see and hear, of all the reasons why America needed to invade Iraq. See, this is a brilliant example on the international scale, but it applies to our lives personally as well. Whenever we plan to do something evil, you see, we have to justify it. I remember General Colin Powell, we spent hours on TV saying, well, Saddam Hussein has this, and Saddam Hussein has that, and we've discovered this, and we discovered that, and on and on and on. He went point after point after point, showing all the evil deeds of Saddam Hussein and why America needed to go and rescue the Iraqi people. See, a long list of justifications. Now, because they were planning to go to war, you see, an evil thing. War is always an evil thing, unless you're defending yourself, of course. But if the Americans were planning, say, to send a panel of peacekeepers to Iraq, heck, that would need no justification. If they were planning to teach people, to send a group of people to Iraq to teach love and peace and joy, that would need no justification. You just put them on a plane and send them there. Do you see the dramatic difference, my friends? In our personal lives, we do not need to justify our good deeds. They are the justification for love, for peace, for doing something good, for being a good Samaritan, for helping your fellow human being. That is self-evident. It needs no scientific research to prove it. So for someone to ask, well, has there ever been any scientific research to prove that love is better than hate? It's so totally missing the point. Do you see what I'm getting at? You don't need scientific research to prove that, my friends. It is self-evident. Okay? It is self-evident. So what I'm trying to say now, you have principles. I don't lie. I don't steal. Now, you see, our international leaders and local leaders teach us the fallacious, deleterious principle of expediency. You see, they say the end justifies the means. You see, for the greater good, they say, for the public good, for the benefit of all, we need to do such and such an evil thing. We know it's not right, but we need to do it for the good of all. See, that weakens them. It weakens us. So whenever you compromise your personal principles, which give you enormous power and protection, you fall below the line of peace. You fall below the line of safety, and you go into negativity. You lose your power. You lose your good power, and you open yourself up to being attacked by all kinds of negative things. Whenever you steal, whenever you lie, whenever you think hateful thoughts of someone else. It's difficult, my friends. I know. It's difficult. But to stress my point, this is so important. The good principles, the good moral values, my friends, that you live by, they nurture you, they protect you, they keep you safe, they fill you with enormous power. But when you weaken in a moment of temptation and go over to the negative side, to the dark side, as they say in Star Wars, then you lose your protection, you lose your power. You see, then you lie once, you steal once, then it becomes easier to lie and steal again, and so on and so forth. You see where I'm going with this? I'm sure you do. So you see, finding our purpose and living that purpose along with our values of not stealing, of not lying, as if our life depended on it, because in fact it does. You see, questioning is at the heart of spiritual journeying. Questioning is at the heart of the spiritual journey, of literally or figuratively leaving home for a time to go on a pilgrimage, a retreat or vision quest, of removing ourselves from the duties and dramas, the relationships and roles, etc., that bombard us with messages that may be distracting or irrelevant, or even destructive to an emerging or affirmative sense of self, and that interfere with our asking for responses to our burning questions. The burning questions are, who am I? What matters? What is my gift? What is my purpose? I repeat, who am I? These questions need to be asked and answered. Who am I? What matters? What is my gift? What is my purpose? See, because by answering those questions, you will clothe yourself with safety, with power, with peace. So callings and urgings and imperatives from the deep self that tell us what it will take to make our lives literally come true. See, that's what callings are. That's what the inner voice is. It is an urging and an imperative from the deep self that tells us what it will take to make our lives literally come true, instead of us just eating and drinking and just being in life. Just eating and drinking, that's not life. It takes values, it takes purpose, it takes finding our purpose and living that purpose. That is life, not just eating and drinking. No, that's just existing. So these things point us toward awakenings, course corrections, and powerful authenticity and purpose. Most people often struggle to know and follow their truest callings, to negotiate the tight passages of career choice or career transition even, and to create a match between who they are and what they do, the best kind of success. See, these decisions need to be made as much from the soul as from the dictates of security. What's at stake is a life of authenticity and integrity, a life that honors passion and purpose, and a life that's an original and not a copy. Who wants to be a copy? No one wants to be a copy of anyone else, do they? No. They want to say, wow, there goes the real McCoy. People are attracted to authentic people. But people quickly see through copies. So just be yourself, whatever that is. Whatever good thing that is. Don't be yourself along the negative lines, no. So our callings come to us through a great variety of signs. Maybe a dream, maybe a symptom, maybe a symbol, an intuition, an event, a synchronicity, a memory, and we need to learn to recognize them and say, that looks like a calling. They are like divining rods, helping us to locate the underground streams, so we'll know where to dig, so we'll know what is being called for in our lives at any given moment. I'll tell you this, my friends. Some people were born knowing their purpose, and that's beautiful. Those people stand out. Their calling, others, so some people are born knowing their purpose, knowing their calling, but most of the rest of us spend decades looking for it, and some of us never find it, sadly. That's the saddest thing. It is impossible for me to tell you how to find your purpose on the air. What I can do, though, is to tell you that there are so many good books on the subject. My favorite book on the subject is called Callings. Simply Callings. Calling. Callings by Greg Levoy. 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 A great author, and another great author on the subject is Barbara Sher, Sher, Barbara Sher. Both available in local bookstores, or they'll order them for you. Check it out. All right, my friends. When we come back from the break, we're going to speak about another powerful principle to peace of mind called soulful surrender. But we are halfway. Stay with us here on 1422 medium wave of the new Pan-Hellenic Voice during this live radio transmission. We are going to go to a brief commercial break, and we'll be right back with the inner voice. This is Dr. Gabrielides. I do consult as a natural medicine practitioner. Those of you who do wish to consult me, my telephone number is, and I will give it again at the end, pen and paper, quick, 076 189 6690. I repeat, 076 189 6690. Stay with us. Θα πάμε τώρα, φίλες και φίλοι, κυρίες και κύριοι, στο συνηθισμένο μας διαφημιστικό διάλειμμα, και θα είμαστε και πάλι μαζί σε λίγα λεπτά εδώ στα 1422 μεσαία κύματα της νέας Πανελλήνιας Φωνής, να συνεχίσουμε το πρόγραμμά μας Εσωτερική Φωνή. Ο Δόκτωρ Παναγιώτης Γαβριηλίδης μαζί σας μέχρι τις 1 η ώρα. Θα σας δώσω τώρα το τηλέφωνο μου και πάλι στο τέλος της εκπομπής, για όποιον θέλει να με συμβολευτεί για διάφορες θεραπείες με natural medicine. Μπορείτε να επικοινωνήσετε μαζί μου στο τηλέφωνο 076 189 6690. Επαναλαμβάνω, 076 189 6690. Μείνετε μαζί μας. You are tuned to 1422 medium wave. This is the new Pan-Hellenic Voice. This is the inner voice. And I'm Dr. Gabrielides. Started at 12 o'clock. I'll be with you till 1 o'clock. Second half of our program. And our topic today is peace of mind. Discussing various principles that we can use. Practical principles to attain peace of mind. Alright, my friends, the next principle I want to share with you is soulful surrender. What do I mean by that? For some, the idea of surrender is a difficult one, especially for us men. Much easier for the feminine spirit. But we men are taught to be warriors, tough. Don't cry, no tears. Men don't cry. Men don't show emotions. Be the strong, silent type. So for many of us, this idea of surrender, especially for us men, is a difficult one. It conjures up images of loss of control. Unthinkable for the masculine spirit. Lose control, no way. Giving authority over to someone else. Why? I want to be in charge. For foregoing pleasure. No way. Or even giving up responsibility for living a purposeful life. See, surrender is a word we associate with the battlefield, or of allowing a bully to take control, etc., etc. See, the reality of soulful surrender, though, has little to do with these violent images. Soulful surrender is about entering a state of grace, of living in harmony and attunement with the higher qualities of our universe, the higher vibrations. It is one of recognizing where the human ego creates fears and limiting beliefs about who we are. Yeah, who do you think you are? And deciding nonetheless to speak and live from a deeper and at times a mysterious truth. See, certain beliefs tend to block our willingness to surrender on the soul level. We conjure up images of a divine puppeteer who decides our fate, irrespective of our wishes. That's not so. Others maintain that it is unsafe to let go of ego control. Others assert that life events are the result of chance or fate or coincidence. And that is, of course, a surrender, is it not? Still others, though, find it hard to conceive of the notion that we're all connected at a spiritual level. They just can't see it. How can we all be one? See, in many ways, therefore, it is not a surprise that we are afraid of losing our individual sense of control. We spend much of our life trying to build a strong sense of self. In fact, it is a necessary stage of our soul journey to develop a sense of confidence and self-esteem in relation to the world, of course. The ego helps us to have influence and direction and control in a world that believes in the separated self. The ego's main illusion, and it is an illusion, is that we're separate, independent beings. Oh, and that's such a difficult concept to grasp and understand, and even more difficult to accept. See, this belief supports the evolutionary idea of survival of the fittest and the need for hierarchy and force over others. For a time, the more we accumulate and the more force we assume gives us a sense of greater security for a time. But my friends, who of us has not looked into the eyes of a little child in rural Africa, poverty-stricken, barefoot, dressed in rags, or anywhere else in the world? You could go to India, you could go to South America. Who of us has not looked into the eyes of these children and seen the emptiness, the fear, the sorrow, the uncertainty, and not just wanted to break down and weep from despair because we don't have the means to eradicate that poverty, to eradicate that fear, to eradicate the fact that there are orphans in the world? Who of us? Who of us has not looked into the eyes of such a child that is not related to us by blood and seen and has not seen the oneness of all humanity? Who of us has not done that? How can we look into the eyes of a little child, no matter whose child it is, and not see that that child deserves every good thing, all the love it can get, all the joy, all the peace, all the comfort, all the opportunities? It's not just my child that deserves that. No, no. Every child on this planet deserves that. They were born totally innocent. Totally innocent they were born. And yet, my word, they go from that to being a Hitler. They go from that to being an Idi Amin. They go from that to being a son of Sam, serial killers, and so on and so forth. What happens in between? What happens in between? You see, somewhere, glaringly so, our society has failed miserably. 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 You see, the ego's main purpose is to survive, and it does so by nurturing attachments to its possessions, you see. I don't care about other children, I only care about my children. Personal beliefs and relationships, you see. It just cares about its personal beliefs, its personal relationships. All loss, even the loss of an idea or a belief, is seen as a threat to the survival of the ego, you see. From the ego's perspective, competition and self-interest are absolutely necessary to maintain survival. But what have you gained, my friend, if you have all the worldly and material success, and you live in a castle surrounded by a moat with crocodiles and guards to keep you safe, you and your children, and yet just outside your castle 45,000 children die from hunger every single day? What have you gained? How can you sleep at night? See what I'm getting at? There's no them in us. Unless we're all happy, unless we're all at peace, unless we all feel safe, we've failed. We've all failed. Anyway, little children and big children, very close to my heart, very soft spot for me. So, as one matures along a soul-centered path, we start to see that attachment to the individual ego's needs creates increasing dissatisfaction. No peace of mind here. The satisfaction of accomplishment, of power, and material accumulation is at best temporary. There is a continual threat of someone else's ego who also wants to accomplish and to have force or accumulate possessions, you see. There's no end to this fear. There's one thing about people who have made a lot of money. They are slaves to making more money. They have more than enough money that they need for 16 lifetimes, but they just can't stop making more money. You see? So you need the peace of mind first. And then you can make a lot of money, and then you will keep your peace of mind, and then it will be worth it. So there's no end to this fear, both on a personal and societal level. The idea of surrender to a less conscious, soulful part of us stirs up these very fears, while at the same time offering a new paradigm of being that bypasses all these fears. What am I talking about? I'll explain. You see, the promise of soulful surrender makes available gifts that allow for the fullest expression of who we are as spirit beings in the human body. So don't fool yourself. This is not all there is to it. Only a fool says in his heart there's no creator, there's no divine intelligence. Of course there is. How could anything stupider than your mind have created your magnificent mind? How is that possible? How is it possible for the celestial clock in the heavens never to miss a nanosecond? The way the planets move around, the suns, everything. The great atomic clocks of the world in Greenwich, etc., every 3 or 4 years or so, I forget how long, they have to be reset a couple of seconds according to the movement of the celestial bodies, and no one is in charge of that. No one planned that. Poppycock. You see, surrender means living in attunement with the divine source, like the God force, and the opportunity to co-create and live out the higher qualities of love that channel through us. Surrender nurtures a sense of harmony and connection to others, you see. Surrender will see a starving child on the side of the road and say, my word, that's me. That's my child. Not, oh, let me just drive by quickly and forget about that. It's not me, not my child. My child's back at the castle. See, we find that discernment and wisdom and deep knowing begin to replace judgment and criticism. You see, if you are judgmental and critical, and we all are, dear Lord, we all are to some degree. You see, the antidote to that is discernment, wisdom, a deep knowing to replace judgment and criticism and blame. See, whenever I'm faced with a problem, I don't ask myself, who can I blame? No. I ask myself, how can I solve this so that everyone is happy, so that everyone wins? I'm not interested in blaming anybody. What purpose is there to that? That's just going to create more conflict. Instead, surrender nurtures a sense of harmony and connection to others. We're all one. There's no you and me. There's no us and them. Fear itself, you see, is then replaced by deep, abiding faith that everything is proceeding according to a divine plan. Now wait a minute, Dr. Gabrielides, you may say to me, do you mean to tell me that everything is proceeding according to divine plan? See, this is a very, very difficult concept to accept, my friends, I know. So a little clarification is in order. See, my family and I lost our angelic baby girl, Zaria Lemony, my granddaughter, at the tender age of just 32 days. Now, I know that was not according to divine plan. No way. See, no deity would be so monstrous as to engineer something like that. I know that. So yes, there are exceptions to every rule, to every principle, my friends. I'm talking about generalities here. So if you've had a traumatic catastrophe happen to you, that's not divine plan. That's just God sadly pulling his hair and saying, when will they learn? And just allowing it for the time being, so that perhaps we can learn something, or maybe we need to be strengthened by it and help others. So generally speaking, things go according to divine plan, but there are exceptions. Even the good book says that some of the things man got up to surprised God himself. Even he would not have thought of them. The Bible says in Genesis 6:6, it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth. What an incredible statement, hey? Wow. Anyway, so instead of getting our knickers in a knot, all I'm saying is that generally things happen because they need to happen. All our suffering, all our misfortunes, as well as our blessings, make us who we are in the end. They make us who we are. We're born vulnerable, weak, ignorant. Then as we grow, life happens. You can allow the things that happen to make you kind or cruel. Well, please, this is my message for this morning. If you take nothing else, what will you be? Kind or cruel? Even if someone grabs you and beats the living daylights out of you, you have a choice. It's better to be kind than cruel. Better to be tolerant than angry. Better to be unselfish than selfish. Better to be big-hearted than miserly. Better to be brave than cowardly. Better to be gentle than harsh. Better to be loyal or disloyal. Better to be wise than foolish. Better to be loyal than disloyal. Better to be stronger than weaker. Better to be loving than hateful. The choice is ours. You see, with soulful surrender comes a natural compassion and a deep willingness to alleviate suffering, replacing the need for power grabbing and striving. Competition is replaced by cooperation, then by fair play and by forgiveness. There's a new sense of knowing your own truth and an ability to express your truth without fear. As you give up the illusion of separateness, you develop deeper emotional intimacy in the awareness of the unity of all beings and a new and deeper sense of belonging. A sense of contentment with what is and living in the now replaces fear for the future. In a storm like a tornado, the rigid, unbending pine tree will be snapped by the storm and be no more. However, the gentle, pliable willow tree will bend with the storm. It may even dance with it if it's in the mood. And as a consequence, it will be there after the storm, a little ruffled, no doubt, but will still very much be there to provide shade, shelter, and pleasure to many people for many summers to come. So, what will you be when the storms of life assail you, my friends, and me? What will we be after the storm? And during the storm, will we be a pine tree that will unbend and snap, or will we be a willow that will bend with the storm and even dance with it? Will we rant and rave against the fates, or will we surrender, my friends? Surrender with awareness, that is important. With maturity, important. With soul. Right, my friends, I've come to the end of the road for today. I'll see you on the other side of the storm next week. And don't forget my program tomorrow night from 7 to 8 p.m. on holistic health. Tune in again next Monday at high noon, 12 o'clock, right here on 1422 medium wave of the new Pan-Hellenic Voice. I do consult as a natural medicine practitioner. Those of you who do wish to consult me, pen and paper, quick. My number is 076 189 6690. I repeat, 076 189 6690. CDs of this program and past programs are available from me. Contact me if you're interested. Also, if you have a group that you would like me to give a talk to, let me know. I'll be happy to do so, and I'll do those talks for free. Till next time, my friends, take care. Keep smiling. From me, Dr. Gabrielides, I bid thee adieu. Λοιπόν, φίλες και φίλοι, κυρίες και κύριοι, φτάσαμε στο τέλος της εκπομπής μας και για σήμερα. Θα είμαι πάλι μαζί σας την επόμενη Δευτέρα από τις 12 το μεσημέρι μέχρι τις 1 η ώρα το απόγευμα, εδώ στα 1422 μεσαϊκύματα της Νέας Πανελλήνιας Φωνής. Και βεβαίως μην ξεχάσετε το πρόγραμμά μου αύριο βράδυ από τις 7 μέχρι τις 8 εδώ στη Νέα Πανελλήνια Φωνή που αφορά την υγεία μας. Όσοι από εσάς θέλετε να με συμβουλευτείτε για διάφορες θεραπείες με natural medicine, μπορείτε να επικοινωνήσετε μαζί μου στο τηλέφωνο 076 189 6690. Επαναλαμβάνω, 076 189 6690. Επίσης μπορώ να σας προμηθεύσω CDs αυτού του προγράμματος και όλων των προηγουμένων προγραμματών μου. Όπως επίσης δίνω διαλέξεις στην αγγλική. Εάν έχετε ένα group που ενδιαφέρεται για μια τέτοια διάλεξη, μην διστάσετε να επικοινωνήσετε μαζί μου. Οι διαλέξεις μου είναι εντελώς δωρεάν. Αυτά λοιπόν, αγαπητοί μου ακροατές, από μένα, τον Δόκτωρα Παναγιώτη Γαβριλίδη. Καλό σας απόγευμα, καλή σας μέρα, καλή σας εβδομάδα. Αντίο.